Hey guys, what's up? This is Simon Marshall here. Well, I got some breaking news from the WWE world. It is official. WWE Hall of Famer Bobby the Brain Heenan just passed away. He was survived by his wife Cynthia and their daughter. As many of you know, did you know that the Brain he was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2002? I remember he was losing half of his speech, uh, like part of it for a while, and that's why it was hard to understand him for a little while. And oh, I just got a tweet, or somebody likes my tweet by Jesse Green. Thank you, Jesse. I just saw that my thing pop up on my screen, so just to let you know. So Bobby Heenan, he was one of the greatest. He was at AWA. He had guys like the Blackjacks, Lanza, Mulligan, the Crippler, Ray Stevens, then the late great Nick Bockwinkel, Jesse the Body Ventura, and then when he was a wrestler, he was even, I think he was managed by the late great Classy Freddie Blassie, and that's who he learned from. So, to me, everyone knew Bobby Heenan as the Weasel. I remember, fans used to chant, Weasel, Weasel, Weasel. And I'll tell you who was his best friend in the world was WWE Hall of Famer, the legendary Mean Gene Okerlund. He was good pals with him. And to me, Heenan, when he came to the WWE, he had great guys like the late great Big John Studd. He had the late great Adrian Adonis. He even had who else was there? There was a lot. He had King Kong Bundy from WrestleMania 2, and then he had the late great Hercules Hernandez, Hall of Famer, Handsome King Harley Race. He even had who was another one he had? He had so many people in his resume. He even had the Steve Lombardi, who we knew as the Brooklyn Brawler, and then he had there was quite a bit. Oh, the Islanders, Haku and Tama, The Rock's cousin Tama, who is Rikishi's brother. That's the Usos' uncles. Yeah, the Tama kid or Tonga. And then Heenan had who else? He has so many people in his resume. I think he had because I know he was trying to get his hands on the tag team titles, and he even had two of the Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Tony Blanchard, the Brainbusters, who we knew right here in the WWE. And then he had, who was it? Oh, at the Survivor Series, I remember he had the late great ravishing Rick Rude. He even had who was another great Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, who was another great WWE Hall of Famer. And then he used to get picked on by the late great WWE Hall of Famer, the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. Then he even had who was it? WrestleMania. Oh, he even had one of the Powers of Pain, the Barbarian, who's another great one of the greatest heavyweights, because the Doctor Style Slick, he took the Warlord. So when the Powers of Pain were history, they took off the makeup. And then Bobby Heenan had the late great Missing Link, who went to WCW years later. He had a great rival with the Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and Flair knew how to avoid that mist that he had in his face. So he was the greatest of all time. And then my favorite about Bobby Heenan, he worked with one of the greatest voices in wrestling history of all time, the late great Gorilla Monsoon. Oh man, those two were inseparable. Will you stop? Hey, listen, did you know that Hunchback from Beverly Hills, she's my Mailman lady. Oh, will you stop? Man, Gorilla and Bobby were the greatest duels ever on primetime wrestling. They used to be on Monday nights. This is before Monday Night Raw, and I loved Monday nights as a kid because you get to watch stuff from the old Boston Garden, the audit, where was it? Oh, the old Chicago Stadium in Chicago, Illinois, Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, the Forum in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, then Madison Square Garden in New York City, then the Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's why they were great. And Luscious Johnny V also worked with Gorilla and Bobby at the Canadian Stargate in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And then we had one in Vancouver, British Columbia, when Paul Orndorff took on Hogan for the WWE title, and then the rematch happened on Saturday night's main event, and that's where it all happened when the Brain had Paul Orndorff, and then got rid of him for Rick Rude, and then Rick Rude was managed by the Brain, and and after a while, Heenan was slowly developing a little bit of pain, and he needed to take time off from managing. So he had the best voice in wrestling history, and he was at the 1990 Survivor Series in color commentary with the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, and Gorilla Monsoon. And it's like, oh, look at the size of that man. And that was The Undertaker when Ted DiBiase revealed his new partner. That was amazing. He's like, look at the size of that man. Because Piper said ham hocks. So at WrestleMania 7, he officially made his full-time color commentary because he had Barbarian Haku, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. He even had quite a few that he was getting rid of because he gave Mr. Perfect to the coach, and he was taking full-time position as a color commentary with Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon because Jesse the Body Ventura left the WWE in 1990 at the end of July. Piper was on Superstars with the Honky Tonk Man, while Bobby was on Wrestling Challenge with Jim Neidhart and who was another great legend, Hillbilly Jim, and that's where the voices were born. And 92, he was great. He was at SummerSlam 91, Survivor Series 1991 when Flair helped Undertaker win the WWE title from Hogan, Tuesday in Texas, and then the Royal Rumble was the best memory ever when Bobby the Brain Heenan was getting all historic because he wanted Flair to win the Battle Royal at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship belt. And that was great history. And he was starting to lose his mind at WrestleMania 8 when Flair took on Macho Man Randy Savage for the WWE title. And then he was complaining at SummerSlam, like, why wasn't Flair in this title match at SummerSlam against Savage? And then he was at Survivor Series in 92 with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. He was commentating with Vince McMahon. Then the Royal Rumble 93. Then he had the best memory ever. That's when he started flipping out at Mr. McMahon over Ric Flair being fired that night against Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig at Monday Night Raw the night after the Royal Rumble. And then WrestleMania 9, he started working with JR, Macho Man Randy Savage, and in April and May, he noticed Jim Cornette made his WWE debut. So a lot of WCW superstars were making their debut while WWE left for WCW, and he got fired. But in real life, he wanted to be let go, so he made it really historic when Gorilla Monsoon said, your history, how many years have I known you? You know, what you said about me was pretty offensive, and he started dragging him right behind the auditorium in New York City, threw all his garbage and dirty laundry and said, end of story, because Gene Okerlund was gone in August, and he decided to work for the enemy, and that was WCW. He was working with Tony Schiavone and Dusty Rhodes behind the microphone Mike Tenay. You know, my favorite quote from Bobby was, on this night, Hulk Hogan and the world record beats Flair and becomes the new heavyweight champion of the world. Bash at the Beach, 1994. But my favorite moment was 1996 when Dusty Rhodes like, Hulk Hogan's in the building. Yeah, whose side is he on? And Tony's like, what are you talking about? And then, whose side is he on? What's going on? And then, oh, oh, oh my gosh, what is he doing? Is he the third man? Yes, he's the third man. What the? What's going on around here? Hulk Hogan has betrayed WCW, and he witnessed the formation of the NWO. So, 2004, he became a WWE Hall of Famer. Missed Gorilla Monsoon so bad. We all missed the Gorilla because he was the great voice, and that's why the Gorilla Press is born in the WWE today. And, you know, in '05, he inducted Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. '06, he inducted the Blackjacks. '07, he inducted his fellow AWAer, Nick Bockwinkel. And then '08, that's where he lost the top of his jaw, which was pretty sad. It was heartbreaking that he could not speak anymore. And then '09, he was converted into a wheelchair. He was back at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony wearing a neck brace. Poor guy. So he had to use a MacBook to speak because he had a program where he can download voices, and Jimmy Hart got to speak to him, which was pretty interesting. And I know he wouldn't take his laptop for autograph sessions. And right in '08, let's see, '09, 10, 11, 12, 9 years he was not able to speak, just like us, because with the jaw you really need it so you could talk, like us. And Bobby the Brain Heenan, you will be sadly missed, and you were the greatest, my number one greatest manager of all time, because my number two is the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, because you were the brains behind legends like Rick Rude, Kurt Hennig, Andre the Giant, Hercules. You even had the Brain Busters, everyone. So rest in peace, Brain, also known as Weasel. He's now reunited with Gorilla Monsoon. So this is Simon Marshall saying thanks for watching.